In terms of the fourth quarter, they had all but one of their buckets was inside the paint. Was that them just being able to get into the paint and get whatever they want because of that point of attack defense like you were talking about?
Yeah, they had that and 9 free throws.
The Indiana Fever were on an unstoppable run. They had just steamrolled Paige Buchers and the Dallas Wings, dominated the Minnesota Lynx to claim their first-ever Commissioner's Cup championship, and absolutely dismantled Aya Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces. 3 straight emphatic wins had their momentum peaking. So when they were scheduled to face the Los Angeles Sparks, one of the worst teams in the WNBA, expectations were sky-high, even without Caitlin Clark in the lineup. But what unfolded next left fans furious. The referees made such egregious calls that head coach Stephanie White could only manage 5 bitter words to sum it all up: "We should have won this game." Her frustration was loud and clear. There was inconsistency in the officiating, she added, making it crystal clear that the referees had completely altered the course of the matchup. Clark was sidelined once again, this time with a lingering left groin injury, marking her 5th consecutive missed game. Her absence severely impacted the Fever's offense. Clark's vision, playmaking, and scoring threat are the foundation of their entire system. Without her on the floor, Indiana was a completely different team. Finding out this morning that we probably need to hold out again today, it really is a day-to-day thing, White said pre-game. We're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness. Anybody who's had this type of injury knows it's a process. She's a quick healer and has done everything she can to get back, but we're staying hyper-focused on the big picture. As if missing Clark wasn't enough, Dears Dantas was away representing her country in the FIBA Ameri Cup, removing another vital piece from the Fever's bench. Her size and veteran experience were sorely missed. Then came the shocking news: Dana Evans had quit the team altogether. 3 key contributors were gone, all at once. Despite the mounting absences, the Fever still came into the game as heavy favorites. ESPN's matchup predictor gave them a 72.9% chance of winning, and oddsmakers had them favored by 6.5 points. The Sparks had been struggling all season and were widely seen as easy prey for Indiana's remaining talent. The Fever had just completed an impressive winning streak, Aaliyah Boston was playing elite basketball, Kelsey Mitchell was stepping up as a leader, and the team chemistry looked unshakable. But from the opening tip, something felt off. Without Clark, Indiana's offensive pace slowed dramatically. The crisp ball movement vanished. Boston wasn't getting enough touches to control the paint, and their entire system, which revolved around Clark's orchestration, began to unravel. Even though the Fever still had multiple all-star caliber players, they looked disjointed. Meanwhile, the Sparks, who'd been fighting just to stay relevant, sensed an opportunity. The Fever's shooting rhythm was off, their defense was scrambling, and with the referees suddenly becoming the main characters in the story, disaster started brewing. Then came the blatant disparity in officiating. Breanna Stewart, Aya Wilson, Kelsey Plum, they all get touch fouls and phantom whistles. But Aaliyah Boston? The best center in the game? She gets called for everything. Every bump. Every minor contact. She has spent the entire season battling through ticky-tack foul trouble, yet still puts up MVP-caliber performances. And Caitlin Clark? She's taken more hits than any rookie we've ever seen and never gets the benefit of a whistle. The moment physicality comes from anyone wearing a Fever jersey, it's suddenly too much, and the fouls start piling up. It's beyond frustrating, it's systemic. Everyone assumed Indiana's raw talent would overcome the missing pieces. After all, they had already beaten elite teams and looked like legitimate championship contenders. But this perfect storm, missing Clark, losing Evans and Dantas, a slowed offense, and inconsistent rotations, exposed how fragile their rhythm really was. Their chemistry had been built around Clark's leadership, and without her, the cracks began to show. Role players who had thrived in supporting roles were now being asked to carry the load. The pressure was intense, and the refs didn't help. When asked about getting consistency out of the team from a coaching standpoint, White admitted, "You've got to know personnel, even when you don't get a lot of practice time. You've got to have a high attention to detail on who to run off the three-point line, what to give up defensively. We weren't sharp enough tonight." Despite all this, 3 players refused to let the team fold. Aaliyah Boston played out of her mind. She dropped 23 points and pulled down 12 rebounds, shooting 9 for 17 from the field and hitting 5 of 7 from the line. She finally got the ball when it mattered and reminded everyone why she's one of the most dominant bigs in the game. Kelsey Mitchell stepped up massively in Clark's absence. She scored 19 points, drained 3 key three-pointers, and played in her 251st game for the Fever. Only Tamika Catchings has played more. Her leadership was undeniable. Natasha Howard, meanwhile, delivered a near double-double with 21 points and 9 rebounds. She shot a blistering 8 for 11 from the field, hit a three-pointer, and made 4 of 6 free throws, giving Indiana consistent scoring and poise under pressure. Together, Boston, Mitchell, and Howard carried the Fever on their backs. Boston controlled the paint. Mitchell hit big-time shots. Howard made veteran plays that kept the team within striking distance. They had built a comeback. The crowd felt the momentum swinging. The Sparks, for all their struggles this season, were finally being exposed. Indiana had clawed back and were within reach of victory. But then came the officiating nightmare. Sophie Cunningham was grabbed by the neck, literally, and instead of a foul, the refs called a jump ball. Then, moments later, she got thrown down again. No whistle. Just silence. Call after call started going against Indiana. The Fever's frustration boiled over. Boston, once again, was called for multiple fouls where she barely touched anyone. The officials were making the game about themselves. And that's not speculation, it's visible in the tape. If Caitlin Clark had played, she might have ended up injured in that chaos. The game was downright sloppy, and the officiating turned it into an embarrassment. Aaliyah Boston was hit repeatedly and called for fouls she didn't commit. Even Michaela Onyenware wasn't spared. She was clearly fouled, and somehow got called for it instead. The Fever had the talent. The drive. The heart. Boston played at an elite level. Mitchell and Howard showed championship mettle. But none of that mattered. The referees took the game out of their hands. And the heartbreak was written across every Indiana player's face as they watched a winnable game vanish, stolen by decisions that had nothing to do with basketball. Ask ChatGPT.